Talking with the experts.
What is your content marketing saying about your business? In episode 329, Job Neal explains how content marketing can make or break your business.
Again, I think it comes back to what kind of impression you want to be leaving. So, I've seen some people that they create the graphics themselves because they feel like it needs to have a graphic. And if you're like me and you're a bit illiterate with graphic design stuff, I've got someone in my team that does that so much better than me, because if I touched it, it'd look like a kindergarten drawing. So that's, if you do it well, it should be the kind of impression you want, like, lasting with people that are coming across it. So the people that are going to come across to, my profile and see the cover photo that I've got or the headshot that I've got done, it should be like, I want the impression to be, wow, that looks really good. That actually looks a lot better quality than any of the stuff that I have.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. You can catch it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today my guest is Job Neal. Just had a mental block there. Then we're going to be discussing digital marketing for experts. And he's from Digital Difference Marketing. I think that's what he said. I don't know. I can't remember.
Digital Difference Makers.
Thank you very much. Digital Difference Makers. There we go. It was pretty close. So we had M in it. That's all I can say. Anyway, It's late in the afternoon for me. It's I missed out on my nana nap, so.
You're right. It's end of the day for me as well.
So welcome, Job. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No, thank you very much, Rose, for having me on. I'm keen to come on and see if I can add some value.
Terrific. How did you get into digital marketing?
So a friend of mine actually came to me and said, brought up the idea of starting e-commerce businesses together. So it was that whole concept of drop shipping. Have you heard of drop shipping before?
I have, yes.
That, for anyone that doesn't know, I suppose that model of, rather than going to the manufacturer, getting stuff shipped to you and then shipping it out, you just ship it directly from the manufacturer to the person. And really your job is to just create the website, do all of the marketing and sell on behalf of the manufacturer, really. So, we did that for about 4 years and, really got to cut our teeth on every single form of marketing, really, email, SMS marketing, social media, advertising, influence marketing. So that's really how I got into it. So trial and error.
Cool. So you know all the business about SEO and all of those sorts of things, or is that not in your realm of expertise?
I know of SEO and in like how it works. In terms of getting into the weeds of it, it's not something that I've typically touched, just because it's something that from my understanding of it, it's always seemed like something that is very a slow process if you're trying to do it correctly. If you're in like a broad market, there's a lot of people that want to be searched up for the term marketing or business. So that's never been my route.
Yeah, no, I do my own, and I must say I'm not a guru at it. My pages on my website sit at 90 and above, most of them, so I'm pretty pleased with that. But other than that, don't even get me started on it.
It's a whole nother thing in itself. Like, I see a lot of people throw around the word SEO a lot, and there's a few people I know that are experts with it, and a lot of the time when they're using that, it's just using a lot of keywords that you want to rank for. And there's a lot more to it than that, really.
There absolutely is, yes. And so, yeah, it's not in my zone of genius, trust me.
Mine neither. I'll stay in my lane.
So yeah, me too. What type of digital marketing do you do at Digital Difference Makers?
We focus on consulting with social media. So we're on all of the different platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. We've got a podcast of our own. We're on Facebook with a group, and I also do a lot of work through my Facebook profile as well. So we mainly try and focus on organic content. So how are you building an audience? What kind of content you're creating that's leading people to book a call? And what kind of marketing you're doing in between booking a call. We also look at running events as well from that audience.
All right, it's really important to have your content pretty spot on to get the know, like, trust thing that's bandied around so much about by marketers.
100% it is. I think that in this world where there's a lot of noise and a lot of other people are competing for attention, you have to stand out, and you have to know that people will judge you from a first impression. So all the videos and everything that you're putting out, someone lands on your profile for the first time, no matter what the platform is, they start looking through the videos, there's a certain impression that they're going to make from that. So what do you want that to be? I suppose is the question that you need to ask yourself. If you were in the shoes of your client, what would you think? Would you want to invest thousands into someone that posts once a week, if that, sometimes shows up, doesn't really talk much about their business? Like, probably not.
No, not particularly. I was guilty of that in the beginning. I think, people will I'll start a business and people will just flock to me because they know who I am. No, it didn't work that way. You really have to work hard at your social media presence, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. I think it's, if you've ever, a brick and mortar store has that maybe underrated aspect of all the traffic of people driving past it and people walking through the door, and more word of mouth. For an online business that doesn't have that, it's not, your website isn't the same as a storefront where that's going to get 50, 100, 1,000 cars drive past every single day. It's just not like that unless you're spending money. That would be fantastic if it was. But typically to get that, you've got to be spending a bit of money to be sending that kind of traffic to your website, or be really good at SEO, like we were talking about earlier. But most of the time that traffic is going to come from social media, and that's where you need to grow the audience and be putting yourself out there consistently, so that, well, if you're not, your competitor will be.
Absolutely. So what impact do just having graphics on your business page or your personal profile have on, getting clients? Put aside just using videos, because I know video's the thing, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But just having graphics with a really, that are colourful, which are, they've got nice words and they're pretty, and, I get envious with some of the people that have really nice graphics, because I'm really just bread and butter. I don't dish, dolly mine up too much. And if I do, I think they look really silly. But, how important is that?
Look, again, I think it comes back to what kind of impression you want to be leaving. So, I've seen some people that they create the graphics themselves because they feel like it needs to have a graphic. And if you're like me and you're a bit illiterate with graphic design stuff, I've got someone in my team that does that so much better than me, because if I touched it, it'd look like a kindergarten drawing. So that's, if you do it well, it should be the kind of impression you want like lasting with people that are coming across it. So the people that are going to come across to, my profile and see the cover photo that I've got or the headshot that I've got done, it should be like, I want the impression to be, wow, that looks really good. That actually looks a lot better quality than any of the stuff that I have. I should talk to him because his stuff looks a lot better than the stuff that I'm putting out. Yeah, that's the impression, because I'm trying to attract people for the marketing side. If you're putting out like a product and you want to be talking about, how this product gets used, or you want to show it off, or there's certain aspects of it that you want to highlight, that's what the graphics should be doing. In terms of my posts and everything, in terms of like the graphics or the images that we will add with the text that we're looking to get more attention from, again, the purpose of that is going to be credibility, but also so that the post will take up a little bit more room within the news feed, and then I've got more real estate on the platform to capture attention. So I suppose, and same goes for advertising. If you're advertising and you've got a graphic, the whole point of that graphic is to capture attention. So lots of different reasons. I think the main thing comes back to, what's the point of this? Why am I using it? But for a majority of people, it's going to come down to credibility.
Yeah, and videos. We've been connected for a little while now, and on Facebook, and I follow your posts quite often. And you're a real proponent of video marketing, from what you describe, and tell me why that is so much better than just graphics.
Well, for me personally, I find that particularly when I'm trying to share my expertise, trying to do that in the most effective way has always been video, because I can get that onto multiple different platforms by, maybe we have to repurpose it a little bit, maybe we have to cut out some clips and other things like that. But it's a lot less time for me, as opposed to if I was to write long copy or long text post with a graphic every single time, or we have to create 20 different graphics and it's like a different idea every single time as well. So I mean, from the business owner perspective and someone that wants people to see them as the expert, find that video is a very easy way for me to be able to manage that time-wise. From a audience point of view, I think there's something to be said about seeing the other person on the other end and seeing how they speak, like seeing where they're trying to lead people, a little bit more of their personality behind it, rather than just always seeing text. I suppose text as well over time, you can just get lost in amongst all of the other posts and everything within the news feed. So there's lots of reasons. I also see a lot more people gravitating towards, and a lot more platforms prioritizing video as we move further and further along. I mean, LinkedIn came out in the last week saying they were going to be prioritizing a lot more videos as well.
I haven't read that article yet, but I'm sure I'll come across it soon enough. I know that Facebook algorithms are leaning towards organic video, so that's Facebook Lives and now stories, not stories, reels. Reels are the big thing at the moment, and a lot of people don't understand how they work. Do you have some explanation about how they work?
I mean, really, it's just a short form clip. I mean, there's definitely, in terms of how the videos have changed, as opposed to, if you were to do like a 2-4 minute video on LinkedIn or Facebook before, is that you kind of just have to jump straight into it now. Your hook to grab someone's attention in the first 3 seconds has to be a lot better. You want to have a headline in the video, so that there's something there that kind of says, creates some curiosity or desire, triggers something in someone that makes them go, okay, this deserving of my attention, as opposed to, I think when most people in the past have picked up their phone, jumped on and gone, hey guys, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm Job and I've had a really good day today, and you just can't waffle on for very long anymore. Like, you really have to get straight to the point of, here's the hook of the video, here's what I'm going to get out of it. And if I am going to ramble a little bit before I actually deliver the point, I better be doing that well and building suspense for that, not just holding time for the sake of holding time. So that's really the biggest difference that's happened with, Reels. I'm testing out Facebook Reels at the moment. I'm really just repurposing the same ones from Instagram, and we'll see how that goes. But the other difference, I suppose, that's there as well is that in the past, content has been one of the things that the platforms have looked for is like shares, comments, and likes, in terms of what they're seeing as, okay, people are enjoying this, let's send it to more people. What is prioritized above that now with this short form video, whether it's Reels or TikTok, is, are people watching it all the way through, and are people watching it again? So if they're doing those two things, then it's going to show it to more people, and which means that comments are helpful, but they're not going to be as impactful as just, is the content good enough that it's holding people's attention for the entire time?
Yeah, no, I read a post from Mari Smith. I don't know if you know who Mari is, but she's the I have about Reels, and that Facebook has now decided that you can record a reel up to 60 seconds now without it being split into two or several. So if it's a minute and a half, you get two. If it's just under 60 seconds, you just get one. So I think that's, I think they're trying to compete with TikTok and Snapchat in that regard. I'm not really sure, but that's my thinking on it. Because, 30 seconds really isn't enough to say what you need to say quite often, and a minute would be a lot better. So, kudos to them for that. And apparently they've got some new features on Reels now too. So down on the left-hand side somewhere. So she was saying, because I follow Mari, I've been following her since she started in Facebook 2009 or something. So yeah, she knows what she's talking about, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think she's always on top of a lot of the new things that are coming out and everything. I've seen a lot of her things. I think it's interesting with the features and everything like that, is like, you got to kind of be careful of like, what's an important feature and what's a
pretty nice to have one, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think, God, we could get caught up in all of the different little features and other stuff that are on
the frilly
each
stuff.
Individual exactly, on each individual platform, and we spend all of our time doing that. If it's not your job to know that sort of stuff, like for me, I learn as much as I can, but there's a lot that's irrelevant that I just don't pass on to clients because they don't need to. It's not worth their time. So I suppose if we're really looking at what Reels are, because I think there are people that are confused by it, I would really say that it is just, it's a shorter video, but you actually have to deliver a good short video. It can't just be 15 seconds from somewhere else that doesn't deliver any value.
Absolutely, yeah, it's got to have value to it, because really you don't want to be wasting someone's minute. I mean, a minute these days can be quite precious. To
feel like forever. I
and,
think like when you're watching videos now, like, and maybe that's just a perception that I've got from watching, Reels and TikToks and stuff like that. But if it isn't quick, you do feel like it rambles on. And if there isn't other stuff going on in the video, like we do in our videos, there's something happening every 2 seconds, whether it's a noise captions changing, animations that come on the
It's got to be
screen.
engaging, doesn't it? It's got to be, you know, like the old cartoons. There was always something happening every second. It wasn't, you know, not like cartoons now, but the cartoons years ago when I was a kid, there was always something happening. And if it wasn't, it was boring. And, you know, we'd stop watching it. So I think video is much the same. It's got to be engaging the whole way through, not just, you know, 5 seconds of it.
Well, 100%. And like, so that's probably the other thing, I suppose, that comes into Reels and TikToks, is that it is a short form video. So yeah, what other things can you add into it to maintain attention? And we found that to be really, just more engaging captions, some animations, adding in some noises. You know, even thinking about the kind of music that you're putting over the top of it and everything as well. All of those little factors come into play.
Now, it's very important too in video, whether that's long form or short form, to have captions, because a lot of people now don't even listen to the sound, they just read off the screen. So I know for a fact that it is really important to have captions on all your videos, even your live videos. Make sure that you've got captions on, because you know, some people are, well, there are hearing impaired people who, you know, obviously can't hear what you say, so they can only read what you say. So it's really important that you always have captions on all of your videos.
It's a lot more inclusive to do it like that. And also I had there was a video marketing coach who's worked with loads and loads of successful entrepreneurs, some of the people out of Shark Tank, the US Shark Tank. And he was saying, you know, I can't remember what exactly around video he was referring to, but he called it poop time, because how many of us are just sitting on the toilet at work, you know, watching his stuff. You can't have the sound on when he's sitting on, trying to waste time sitting on the toilet there. But I thought about it, I was like, it's true. There's a lot of videos and other stuff, people naturally just get out their phone, so just sit and watch stuff. So, you know, I wonder what percentage. He had a ridiculous percentage. It was something like 40% of people are watching videos from the toilet, but I'm not sure if it's that high. But it's another good reason.
That conjures up all sorts of wicked thoughts in my brain.
Well, it's certainly something to think about, because there's so many reasons why people wouldn't be listening or watching a video with sound on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even late at night, you know, you in bed, people take their phones to bed, God forbid, and you know, watch videos in bed. And you know, to me, it's not my thing, but you know, other people do it. It's rather like reading a book, really, isn't it? When you used to go and take a book to bed.
I'm certainly guilty of it. We've had to ban them from the bedrooms because it can be addictive to just bring it in, and then you spend an extra 2 hours awake on your phone watching videos. So I certainly know that there'd be a lot of people doing that. They wouldn't feel as guilty about it as I did.
So I guess what makes good content marketing? I mean, even if you're an expert, and I don't think there's such thing as an expert, because there's always things to learn. That's my opinion anyway. You can say you're an expert, that's fine, but I'm sure that there's still something else you can learn. But what is good content marketing?
I'd say good content marketing is marketing that's actually influencing people, right? So I think there's a lot of marketing or content being put out, and it's either complete fluff that's not like, you know, telling anyone about what you do or how you help them or anything like that. And then there's the other, which is probably where a lot more people are leading, is here's my thing, come buy it, basically. And there's no other content around it that's actually influencing people. And we think that influencing people with content means, and we talked about this earlier, and this is true, but I'll tell you my different perspective on this, that it's just putting out value. And people confuse value with it having to be something that is like, you know, how to do this, or, you know, 5 tips on this, or 5 tricks and hints and everything like that. And those things are nice, but what can tend to happen with a lot of that type of content is that people will consume it and get half of the information, and you were only able to give half of the story. So they've got 25% of what it was. They'll half implement it, kind of thing. And then when it doesn't work out, Job and Rose's stuff doesn't work. Which is same problem when people try to coach really quickly on a sales call. Again, people go away, they have a crack at this little thing, doesn't work. I blame that person, because we can't possibly give people the whole picture and guide them through it with the support they need
in 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes, exactly. Like, we actually need to be working with them to be able to provide that support so they get it. So I really think there's a lot more content that needs to go out there. And this is specifically, I suppose, for that people that are selling their services or their expert services. Like, what kind of objections and beliefs do people have that might stop them from investing with you? A lot of people will be, I don't think that I have the money. I don't think I can afford to do that, or I don't think that I have the time, or some beliefs and stuff that people might have with us is, I don't believe that organic marketing works. Or maybe they think they have a different problem. Maybe they think like, I don't think I have the content problem. I think that I've got an audience building problem. I need to reach more people. I've come across people that have got like, some have had 2,000 people, never made a sale. Some people have had like 60,000 people, and sales have started to slow down. And it's like, you've got a big enough audience. There's people that have got like 400 people and making 7 figures. So like, there's something not adding up. And I think a majority of the time it's, so that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But, I've got to try and change their perspective on the problem that they think they have to the problem that they actually have. Again, so they start going, okay, well, let's have a discussion about that. Maybe you're right. Like, if I always try and just say, hey, here's how to create content, here's organic marketing and all of that, all the people that don't believe it works, think they've got a different problem, don't believe they have the time, all of those different things are not registering anything that I'm saying, or not even open to the idea of whatever offers and stuff I'm putting out. So it's really, and I suppose it's why so many marketers get so deep into, you need to know your ideal client, your ideal avatar, so that you can get into those weeds and figure out, cool, what are they thinking right now before they jump into my program? Because if you can figure that out, get very clear on that, use the language that they use, and start to influence them or influence their perspective from there, that's when you'll start seeing people go from, hey, nice post, interesting, love your stuff, to, hey, what you just said was exactly what I was thinking and what I was feeling. I'd be really interested in having a chat. That's
I've noticed that with just my posts on my profile just recently, that I don't know if you've been following them closely, but I'm starting a radio station up in September, an online radio station, and people just came out of the woodwork. Some people I haven't, they're on my friends list, but I've never had any interaction with them, and they've just all come out, yes, I'd love to. And it's amazing. And same as when I started the podcast, people just came out of the woodwork. But if I start saying anything about, podcast production is what I do in my other job, I don't get anything. It's crickets. But if I'm going to go and actually do something online, people come out from all places. It's I find that quite astounding.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that were reaching out and everything was that were the posts positioned as like, hey, you can come and get featured on this, or was it just announcing that it was out.
I was just saying I've got access to an online radio station platform, and people said that yes, they're really keen. It's like within like 2 days, I had over 40 comments of people who were interested, and I was like amazed.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think people are pretty keen to be able to promote themselves and get themselves out there. I mean, I think we were chatting, and I was like, oh, I'm looking to do a new round of podcasts and come on during this time. Not sure when this will come out, but yeah, it's interesting. I think you just really tapped into what people are interested in, what people like to do.
Yeah, well, I've often commented on this podcast, is that's why I started it, was to help business owners, because in the pandemic when it first started, businesses were closing, and I wanted to help them overcome the challenges. And so I thought, what better way to have a podcast and talk to other business owners? And it's just taken off, and it hasn't got the millions of downloads that other podcasts had, but I ranked 17th in New Zealand and 84th in Australia, so it can't be doing too bad.
Well, exactly. I mean, how many episodes are you up to now?
I think you're 329 or 330. So
I think it's a testament to that, like, consistency and just getting enough volume out there. Like, that's, I think a lot of people give up a lot earlier.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
So like, I think someone was telling me it was only like most people give up after about 4 episodes. Like that's when most podcasts.
Yeah, 5%, 95% of podcasters give up after 5 or 6 episodes because they just find it too hard. And they, it's not hard to be consistent. It's just, get a process in place and you're done. I know, I found 100%. It quite easy. I did it in 2 weeks. People take months sometimes, so I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, I think for some people, it's that whole thing of, because we've been suggesting more and more people get into podcasting as a way to repurpose content for a lot of other platforms. And I think there's a lot of people that do think it's going to be a lot more work. I think there's a lot of people that think that there's just a mindset thing about it. Like, okay. I mean, one of the things I talked about recently with some people were saying, yeah, I'm really interested in doing it, but I just don't think the time. And I said, one of the podcasts that we do, this solo podcast, got 5 to 7 minute episodes. I'm able to get like 10 episodes in an hour, and the rest is done, like, sorted out for me by a video editor and team. So like, I just don't think there's an excuse anymore. Like, I'm very quick to call that out. So I think for a lot of people, it's a mindset.
Yeah, that's just why I started the radio station, because I know that people don't want a podcast as such, like do live video like I do, like a lot of podcasters do. And it's just audio, and they can, pre-record it, and then it's just scheduled into the platform. And to me, it's about the same, really. It's about the same amount of time, and just someone else does all the editing for you. It's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. But anyway, but that's why I started the station, because people want to have a voice. They want to get their, their businesses out there, Yeah. So don't podcast, just go on a radio station instead. Why not?
Yeah. Have you had a few people that weren't interested in doing the podcast or anything that now, and you said a few people had come out of the woodwork you hadn't seen
they
before?
Weren't interested in having their own podcast, but they're interested in coming on a radio station.
It's interesting like that, isn't it? It's just, I suppose, a different perspective. Some people
maybe
just view
the
that as
radio podcast. I don't know.
I think so. I mean, I know of plenty of people that change up the wording for. I'm trying to think what it is. But I mean, like, even people that just change the word around, like don't say organic marketing. They come up with their own name for it, but it's exactly the same thing, the same sort of methods. So I could not call it content. I could just give it some other ridiculous name kind of thing, and try and see what lands.
Invent one, Job. invent one. And
I'll
then,
have to.
and
I'll have to
then
go on my own
trademark
little.
it, and then you'll be rich.
That's the way to do it, isn't it? I'll be the new Gary V.
That's it. So tell me about your podcast, Joe.
So we've got the Digital Difference Makes podcast. That's where we bring on other experts, other online business owners that really are using their business as a platform to make a difference in the world. So that one's a bit more of a passion project or a bit of a branding thing for us, because we want to work with other businesses that are making a difference in the world. So we want our listeners to be attracted to that. And we're also launching 2 new podcasts very soon, which are solo podcasts. One is Content for Coaches, which is all about content for coaches. And then the other one is Expert Businesses, which dives a little bit more into business and mindset and a little bit more general, but covers everything from, consultants, coaches, course creators, and all of the different elements of running that type of business.
Oh, it sounds interesting. You have to send me a copy, or send me a link so I can listen.
I will. I'll be keen to get your feedback. We'll have to chat so I can hear all about the different stuff that you're doing with the production company.
Yeah, well, I'm starting a new podcast next Tuesday. It's called Healing Through Love, and we are primarily involved with domestic and family violence survivors, and so we're starting Charlene and I are starting a podcast next week, instead of having our live stream that we used to have. People seem to want to come on the podcast more than they want to be on the live stream. I don't know, it's the same bloody thing, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't understand people's
it's all it's just perspective, isn't it? It's just a different name. It's kind of like and there is a difference, but it's kind of like all the confusion at the moment around people that want to. We've had a lot of people that want to do reels, but they don't want to be doing TikTok because I think they'll have to learn something different, or their audience isn't there, and it's like same people.
Yeah, people make a lot of money out of TikTok. I don't particularly like the platform very much. I tried it for a few months and I wasn't overly keen on it, but it's horses for courses, I suppose. If you like it, then you stick to what you like.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've always the way that I look at it, if you've got the right system and everything, then you're just creating for it. Like you don't have to. I think a lot of business owners and stuff would say, and this is probably like, again, one of those mindset things people have against creating content and marketing on different platforms, but you don't have to be on the platform and consume it all to be there. Can help to see what different content works and everything like that. But, if you just want to be putting content there, you don't even need to have an account. All of that can be done for you. So I don't know. I suppose that's always been my perspective on that we don't have to enjoy all of these different platforms and all the different things.
I just hire someone to put you on there. You'd be right.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny you.
Maybe. Well, we help get people set up there. We won't do it for you, but
good-o. Joe, where can people find you if they want to learn more about you or work with you?
So we've got the Content Marketing Facebook group. You can find that on my profile. You can find me Job Neal, or on Instagram, Job Neal _. I'm also Job Neal on TikTok and LinkedIn as well. So if there's any links in the show notes or anything like that,
there will be
lots of easy.
Yeah.
You'll be able to find me there. But we're on everywhere. So wherever you want to get in contact with me, if you want to check out our videos, Instagram and TikTok's best place, or the Facebook group for our community.
Okay, I will stalk you a little bit further now. Joe, what last words of wisdom would you like to share, or some little itty bitty bit of content or something that you'd like to share with our audience today?
I've never put out content without thinking about what the outcome of that post is going to be. Always put something out knowing what the outcome you want from that post will be.
Good advice. Absolutely good advice. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have had an absolute pleasure. It's gone far too quick, I think.
No, thank you very much for having me on, Rose. I'm glad that we got to connect, and keen to talk more as well. But thank you very much for having me on your platform.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.